welcome to Engineers Workshop. Coming to you live from somewhere between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. My company put me on the road today, but I'm really excited because I wanted to give you an update on the power installation at the shop building. This morning I got up and lo and behold, there's a truck parked on the lot with transformers and an excavator after 8 months of waiting. So it looks like we're finally going to see some action. So just a real quick update on the status. Let's go right to the video. Whenever you have a black jacketed cable acting as a neutral, some of the jurisdictions allow you to identify it by putting a white tape around it at either end. Sometimes they require it to be wrapped. Whatever is visible has to be wrapped with white tape. Our jurisdiction allows just the ends to be identified. So we've got our two neutrals here for incoming power on this grounding bus bar, and we're wrapping these to identify them as neutral conductors. All right, let's see what we have here. We've got a mini excavator. We've got a big transformer, two pads, and two baby transformers. And there's pad number 3. Well, I'm not an electrical engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer, but I looked up this part number, and this is a distribution transformer made by ERMCO, made February of this year, if you can believe that, and it's 100 kVA, and they only go up to 167 kVA for single phase. But you know, I was trying to figure out what this meant, and this means that this is a 34,500 volt grounded Y. That's the incoming service. So it's 34,500 volts phase to phase, 19,920 volts phase to ground. So this being a single phase transformer, it's tapped off of one of the overhead lines, one of the 3 overhead phases, and then the other primary side is grounded. So it's seeing 19,920 volts on the high voltage side, and on the low voltage side 240/120, which is run over to the building. Just the rest of this is ratings. It has 84 gallons of oil inside. There is some kind of a breaker that's inside the oil for overcurrent protection or for lightning protection. So it's a monster. There's the amount of oil it has in it, 84 gallons of oil, and it's like 650 pounds. So 630 pounds of liquid. The tank is 350. Core and the coil 574. So this thing weighs in at 1,560 pounds. It's a monster. There's some big lugs. Well, they actually have the wires pulled into the meter base, and you can see the new primary wires at the base of the pole, and they've come up and they've got them spaced, the 3 big cables there, where each individual transformer is going to be. And by the looks of it, the one on the far left is going to be where the single phase transformer sits. So they've got a primary wire, and let me see if I can zoom in here, and they've got the secondary cables already running conduit up to my meter base. I guess they're just going to leave the 2 dummy enclosures on top of the 2 primary wires for the future 3-phase. So I guess they're about halfway done. Boy, what a difference a few hours makes. So stopped by at lunch because I figured now it's not raining anymore. Maybe I'll get some better shots. We already have all three transformers in place. Still not hooked up, but the pads are in place. The cable spool is gone. Looks like things are still ready and waiting on the hookup up the pole. And they did not complete the tie-in on the box, but ended up waiting 8 months for something that took about 8 hours, and half of that they did in the rain. So progress is progress. I'm not going to complain. I got to go on the road, and maybe by the time I get back, all this will be hooked up waiting for me. Wanted to show you some of the incoming cable for the power. I mean, this is some big stuff. So there it is, thumb for scale, 2 power conductors and a neutral. It's bigger than I've ever worked with. I don't know how these guys, these electricians, manhandle this stuff to get it, curved into a 90 to plug into these lug fittings. I have a hard enough time with the, 1/0, 2/0 stuff. This is huge. So this is their offcut from running power into the panel.